Hello, I'm Alex Levin, and I'm here with you through Sun and Moon Yoga Studios YouTube channel. We're here to meditate together, a short meditation after I say a few words. Today's topic around fear of missing out. Excuse me, fear of missing out. When we would attend Adyashanti's retreats, he's a long-time Zen practitioner. I'm hesitating to call him meditation teacher. It's more than the retreats were called silent retreats, 5, 6, or 7 nights. And it was the silence. The one commitment that was asked for was the silence. You didn't have to show up for any of the meditation periods of the morning, early morning, not too early, but 7, I think, was the first one. The morning talk and guided meditation, and 3 afternoon meditation, and evening questions and meditation. But we were asked to keep silence, to not consult our cell phones or electronic media or read anything except an essay on this practice. So he would begin. So I'm not sure, but it's more about the silence, and that meets today's topic for me, the one I'll be focusing on this week. Of what is it when we say we're letting go, we're moving into a pause, when we're sitting in silence? Is it what is happening in that? So he would start the retreat saying a number of things, but one of the things he would say is, don't miss this opportunity. And then he didn't say much more about that. Sometimes that the topic would go on to say, ask us to identify why it is we're here, what we're doing here, when we're taking a whole week, almost a week or a full week out of our schedule to do this nutty thing of being in silence for that long. Um, so don't miss this opportunity. I found it curious. I was invited into contemplating that. I wasn't sure what he meant, but it felt to me, one of the first things I thought was, to be here, to be present, to be here in this moment. That seems maybe an obvious one. And I will leave it at that rather than tell you, well, I may hint at where it's brought me, but it's koan like. It's like to ponder and see and feel, what does it mean for you? And when we enter to this time of sitting quietly, whether it's a short 5-minute meditation, a 12-minute like we do here, or my typical one is 18 minutes in the morning. I don't know, I've used random times like 25 minutes or 21 minutes or longer. We're we're in this time of silence. And another pointer I'm using today is leaning into this tripart instruction from yoga that we can apply to any endeavor, and is that we show up. There's a discipline to showing up, to putting the effort toward doing what we want to do, or whatever it is we're endeavoring. And the second part is what last week's theme was around, whether I said it explicitly or not. It was around self-study. It was about, we zoom in to see the details about ourselves. We zoom out to see the bigger picture, the bigger context. And together those create a sort of wholeness of our experience. And the last one is often translated, sometimes just shorthand, as surrender, or surrender to the Lord, surrender or devotion to the divine. And one of my favorites is orienting toward the ideal of pure awareness. So I find it interesting, those slightly different translations of the Sanskrit Ishvara Pranidhana. And it points to not just a jumping off a cliff of activity to nothingness, although sometimes the spaces that we come to in a pause, whether it's the pause that we're practicing so that we don't spin ourselves into the same habit over and over again, or the pause that we come to in meditation when we get those moments where uh, the mind has let go. The mind has let go of thinking for a little while, those grace moments. And then there are these openings that sometimes can feel very, very sweet and or very mm, supportive or full of relief. And also these times when we let go like that and we touch toward pure awareness can be terrifying, can be terrifying. And without even maybe feeling the sense of, as I'm dramatizing it, terror, it might be that just as soon as we touch on that spaciousness, the mind grabs right back in, and it nature abhors a vacuum, right? So it wants to come back in. That uncomfortability of just being with that pure presence can come in. And so the tools that we cultivate, the groundedness for one, the community of us coming together for another, the centeredness, the tools of either touching to your feel of center of the body, to the breath, to anchoring somehow in our presence, because that sometimes that letting go can feel like we're just adrift in space without any mooring at all. And so having these tools makes it more and more available that we step by step come to feel into that boundless, formless, infinite, spacious, quiet, silent presence with a capital P, or awareness with a capital A. I would also venture to say, from what I'm exploring on my own, and we're all exploring together, that that awareness, that divine, that non-form, boundless presence, I think, and I'm verifying it with my own practice, and I invite you to do the same. I believe it is ourself in a maybe that's what the true self is. Layered on that is this, what I call consciousness, like a window, that isn't quite thinking yet, but what the yogis call chitta. And it is, as Eric Schiffman talks about, this window that we want, it helps us, it behooves us the clearer it is. Sometimes as we begin to clean it, it can feel messier, it can feel less clean or difficult as the mud gets streaked around, as I spoke of a few weeks ago. And then all the things that are happening, the coldness of my feet, the speech that I'm speaking and you're hearing, the little Roo, the dog nearby, all of this is just the phenomenon that we're seeing. And while thoughts seem to have substance, it's temporary. It's coming and going. Some coming and going is quite quick, and some lasting a long time. And we tend to identify with those through our life, and those that's helpful in our roles as teacher, as sister, as gardener, as dog mom, whatever our roles are. Those are important, but without that knowing that we are also that true self, they can cause us that can cause us more suffering than what's available. Something from that shift to perceiving that truest self brings a balance, brings an immortality, if you will. And I hear that from the teachers, whether knowing that truly in my own practice is still coming, but there are moments of it. So, with that background, that philosophical background, let's step into the practice where we really get to feel this for ourselves. All these words are not it, are not it, are not the thing. However, really helpful because how else would we know? Although we might know, like when you walk in the woods or when you're sitting on the beach, just so immersed and enjoying and free of thinking, free of worries, and totally in that moment and in nature. We often, in those kind of situations, do feel that immortality, perhaps that taste of it. And yeah, that's another theme we'll talk of another day, that possibility to touch and know that. But it's right here as we sit for these 12 minutes. So do ensure that your seat is comfortable. And we'll begin with the sound of a bell and a bow to open our sitting practice. Don't miss this opportunity. With the fortification of each other here together, we find our seat, we find our anchor, our groundedness. Perhaps it's on a chair, or perhaps you choose to lie down, a lying down meditation, or sitting on floor cushion. Very useful to take a few moments noticing how it is that we are right here, how it is we know through our body. And in practicing this attention to the gravitational pull through our body, this vehicle we travel through in this life, on this planet, this particular spot you are right here, you can only be in one spot on the earth at a time. We begin to forge an energetic root, that combination of this invisible but very known and accepted feel of gravity through our body, the very tangible sensations of the soles of the feet or the sides of the feet, legs and pelvis. meeting the ground, receiving Earth's upward support. And we might notice that we're breathing again. And this is another tool we can use as an anchor as we open to that more and more boundless aspect of ourself. Effortlessly, the breath always reliably coming in, moving out. We breathe together with the entire planet. And while we are making this commitment to stillness, silence, it's not a dead, concrete like experience necessarily or at all, but rather we are open to the space around, to sound, to the dynamism within, to the ongoing movement of life. Perhaps there might be some relaxation here, or if there is struggle, discomfort, distraction, can there be a making of a space for all that, for any of these visitors? There might even be room for joy. And with all these visitors, these coming and going objects, discomfort, relaxation, thought, breath, ground. Notice that perhaps awareness is never not here. You don't have to earn it or do anything to get it. It's just here. And to close our practice, let's bring our palms together in front of the heart and bow. Here, a feeling of gratitude of all of us together, of the freedom to have this practice and the desire that all beings might get a taste and opportunity to pursue their path toward this freedom. So I'm hoping that you see and get tastes of that pure awareness. Surely, I think you have, but maybe not, and maybe you're still intrigued by that possibility. And perhaps Um, the tastes are good, and perhaps when you hear something like, awareness is always here, at times, maybe like me, you have railed against that, like, "Yes, but how do I hold on? How do I find it more often? What is this non doing no thing to get to that get to that awareness?" And, and so there's something in it that resonates for us, calls to us, and if that's true for you, continue. It is always here, and I think I'm guessing you sense that that is true too. It's just we have a lot else going on, and that's not in conflict with it, and that's also sort of paradoxical. But I'll leave you for that with those ideas, and I look forward to seeing you again next week. Thank you, everyone. Thank you. Thank you, Mary Beth. Thank you, Virginia. Thank you all who have joined me live and those who join me afterward. Ciao, ciao. Nice to see little Rue. I know it's really nice when the dogs make an appearance. Ciao, ciao.